Jeff Benedict, New York Times bestselling author, and the new book is LeBron. And he's written quite a few books. Wrote on Tiger Woods. We'll talk about some of the other books that he's written. When did you come to, I guess, that decision that you were going to write about LeBron James?
The decision?
Yeah, no pun intended. Can we move your mic there a little bit to you? There you go. So when did you come to that realization that, you know what, I think I'm ready to write a book on LeBron?
It was shortly after finishing Tiger. And the Patriots had just lost the Super Bowl to the Eagles. And I was actually pitching to my publisher, The Dynasty. That's the book I intended to do next. And Simon Schuster really wanted me to try to get access in Foxborough before giving me a green light to do that book. And that's when the decision was made to do LeBron.
But what do you start? Like, what do you do?
Yeah. So I've been doing this a long time, as you know, Dan, and I have a process that I follow. And so with LeBron, I did what I always do, which is I start with a really deep dive and create a timeline for the subject's life. So in LeBron's case, it's 38 years, which is not long. And in a 38-year lifespan with LeBron, I came up with a timeline that was over 100 pages long when I got done creating it. It's almost a third the length of a book, which is incredible. But the benefit of doing that is then you have something you can look at literally on paper, and you can see what are the moments that you really need to zero in on and explore and expand for a reader, things that they don't know, because there's all these bright light moments in someone's life like LeBron that everybody knows, like when he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated the first time as the chosen one, or when he won, when he made the decision to leave and go to South Beach, or when he returned to Cleveland, delivered the championship. You know those big moments that everyone knows, but the challenge of biography is you need to fill the book with things that people don't know, or else it's not worth reading. And that's what that first sort of 6-month period about is. It's finding those and then figuring out how you're going to illuminate them on the page.
What was the one that you went, wow?
There were actually a lot of them. I mean, for example, when I saw the first newspaper clip of LeBron, one of the things I did, Dan, in the beginning was get subscriptions to the Akron Beacon Journal and the Cleveland Plain Dealer, and I read every single story that had ever been written about LeBron. The first thing I found was a story that was like 2 paragraphs, and it was LeBron's first Pee Wee football game in Akron that was actually reported in the paper, and he scored like a few touchdowns. And I just thought, wow, this is remarkable. A lot of people played Pee Wee football, they're not in the newspaper.
Yeah.
But you could almost see that early that this kid was different than everybody else. And I thought the first time he met Michael Jordan really jumped out to me as a fascinating moment, because by that time, LeBron had agreed to keep a journal for this up-and-coming magazine called Slam. And I was reading all those journal entries that LeBron wrote. I thought it was fascinating that he wrote a journal. People don't remember or know that. But he wrote a really great journal entry after meeting Michael Jordan for the first time. And that happened in Chicago in the summer between his sophomore and junior year of high school. He was there playing in an AAU tournament. Maverick Carter was coaching him, and they got invited in this tournament in between games to go to Jordan's gym. Jordan's retired at this point, hasn't come back to play for the Wizards yet, and LeBron gets to go to the gym where his idol works out. And after that short visit, the guy who had invited them said, you ought to come back at the end of the summer, and you can stay at my house and you could work out at the gym. LeBron gets permission from his mom to do that. He comes back and he goes to the gym, and there's a bunch of guys from the NBA like Jerry Stackhouse and Antoine Walker, and all these guys that would come back in the offseason and work out at Jordan's gym. They're all there playing. And LeBron gets to go on the floor and run with them. I mean, think about it. He's going into his junior year of high school. He's running around with these guys. And I called that chapter A Different Floor, because when LeBron got on the floor, same size as his high school floor, but doesn't look it. With these giants, when they extend their arms, play defense, there's no passing lanes, there's no driving lanes anymore. But the really important thing was, first of all, these guys saw this kid could actually create his own shots and score against them as an incoming high school junior. And then even more importantly, when LeBron was leaving that last day of being there, when they're walking out of hoops, Jordan pulls in. And that's the moment where LeBron and Michael meet for the first time. And this is really important because Michael invites him back inside. And by this time, Michael has decided he is going to come back and play, but he hasn't announced it yet. So the public doesn't know it. He knows it. He takes LeBron inside his private gym and they talk for about 15 minutes. He doesn't give him any advice, but he gives him his cell phone number. And this is, to me, it's a pivotal moment for LeBron James because the next day, LeBron goes to his first day of his junior year of high school. And when he shows up, he's got Michael's number in his back pocket. And if you fast forward 5 months, Grant Wall from Sports Illustrated is going to walk into LeBron's locker room at the high school, and he's got about 15 seconds to pitch LeBron on the idea of letting him profile him for the magazine. And his pitch is, I know you're going to Cleveland tonight with your friends to watch Michael play against the Cavaliers. Can I drive you? And that chapter is called Get in the Car, because LeBron makes a decision in that moment without consulting any adults or his parent to get in Grant Wall's car. And when they get there that night, Michael comes out after the game to talk to LeBron in the tunnel. And Grant Wall is observing LeBron talk to Michael like a friend. It's only been since the previous summer that they met. Yeah. But Michael now knows LeBron's mother, knows her by name, asks how she's doing. LeBron tells him she's down in New Orleans. And Grant's just going, wow, look at the way this kid, he is a kid, is carrying on with the greatest athlete of our time. To me, when you see those kind of moments, those are shaping instances where you're seeing the growth and evolution of a young man who's going to become the next great.
I immediately thought when you were telling the story that Michael, the businessman, is looking at LeBron James and investing in LeBron James to be part of the Jordan brand. Is that reading too much into it and not acknowledging that maybe there is a mentorship involved in this?
I think there's a couple things going on here. That Nike at this moment in time, when LeBron and Michael intersect, Sonny Vaccaro has the inside track to LeBron. He's been recruiting LeBron to come to Adidas, and he's ahead of Nike at this point. But Nike has Michael. And so there is that element of it, but Michael was never like this active recruiter.
Oh, okay.
He didn't need to be. That's the thing. Sonny is really competing against Phil Knight. You know, he's left Nike. There's a little bit of acrimony. Sonny got in early. One of my favorite scenes in the whole book, when you talk about finding something you didn't know, I did not know how Sonny established the relationship with LeBron and Gloria James. To me, it's a far more fascinating story, and I love the movie Air, but Sonny didn't have a relationship with Michael Jordan when Michael Jordan was in high school or college. Yeah. He built a relationship with LeBron when LeBron was a kid. He went to Akron. Gloria James went to California and had dinner at Sonny's house. LeBron went to San Francisco or Oakland and actually auditioned. I call it an audition because to me it reminded me of a child star that wants to get on Broadway, you know, performing in front of Stephen Sondheim to find out if they're going to get the part. I mean, LeBron did that. And everyone in the gym, all the coaches from LeBron's high school team and his AAU coaches, they're all nervous because they know Sonny is like the godfather of sneakers. He has that much power. He's sitting in the bleachers like an audience of one to watch LeBron play one time. And by the way, he didn't do that for Kobe. He didn't do that for Michael. He did it for LeBron. And after about 10 minutes, Sonny got up and walked out. Just didn't even say goodbye to anybody. In the middle of the game, just left, got in a cab with his wife and left. And everyone in the gym thought, oh no, this is a disaster. But on the ride to the airport, his wife, Pam, finally says to Sonny, what? And he goes, I've never seen a player like that. He was so impressed. It was in that moment he decided Adidas has to get him.
And of course, Sonny is the reason why Michael Jordan went to Nike because of his relationship with Mike's mom. We're talking to Jeff Benedict, New York Times bestselling author. The new book is LeBron. I'm always curious about how we don't embrace LeBron. Like we embrace Steph Curry and we embrace Patrick Mahomes. There's certain athletes we embrace. Why is LeBron not embraceable?
Well, I think, first of all, a lot of people do embrace him, but it feels like half of the country doesn't, or half of the NBA fans. But I think we have to go back a little bit in time.
But we embraced Jordan.
Yes, but here that's part of the problem. When you're coming in as the declared successor to Michael, right away, that's a huge disadvantage because Michael has this huge, deeply embedded following. He transformed basketball. He was bigger than the game. He's loved beyond the borders of the United States. He is that mythical of a figure. LeBron comes in as the guy who's supposed to basically replace him, not just succeed him, but replace him. That's tough. He didn't ask for that. It was put on him. Early in his career, and I'm talking about the Cleveland years, I think LeBron was largely admired. I mean, he wasn't controversial in the Cleveland years. When he did what he did to Detroit in Game 5, I mean, as things like that were happening, the NBA world was embracing him more and more and more because you just couldn't help but be impressed with what he was doing with a team that had no business competing with teams like the Pistons, but for the fact they had LeBron. Then everything changes when he said he was taking his talents to South Beach. Yeah. Now it's not just embrace, it's everybody in the league against LeBron except for people who live in Miami. And it took him going back to Cleveland to start to reverse that. And then LeBron just did something very bold that no one else in his position would do because it was so risky, which was he stepped into politics. And he did it he started doing it during the Obama years, and that was actually one of my favorite parts of the book to write, because when people forget that LeBron's first brush with politics was heading into the Beijing Olympics when Krzyzewski was the coach and Kobe was on that team. People forget that it was the same playoffs where LeBron went to town on Detroit in Game 5. That same playoffs season is when LeBron was hammered mercilessly for declining to sign a letter that his teammate, Ira Newbley, had put together and all the rest of the Cavaliers signed, calling out China for their human rights violations. LeBron didn't sign it. All the major media in the United States hit LeBron pretty hard for that. Then Game 5 happened, and all that went away. Then a year later, the Olympics came, and it all came back. And LeBron went to the Olympics with Kobe, and they did a press conference where LeBron basically said, you can't mix politics and sports. That was the summer of '08. Barack Obama was running for president, and Jay-Z has agreed to do these benefit concerts for candidate Obama. And he asks LeBron, or he invites LeBron to do the last one with him in Cleveland, and LeBron does it. And he gets up on stage in a packed house, and he endorses Obama, and he encourages the whole place to vote for him. That's his coming out into politics in '08. Over the next 8 years, Barack Obama did more to recruit NBA players into the White House, not just when they won championships. People like Magic Johnson were going to the White House just to help Obama with his domestic agenda. And LeBron did that. He did it with the Affordable Care Act. LeBron learned a lot in the Obama years, in those 8 years. And by the time those 8 years are over, he's endorsed Hillary Clinton. He campaigns for Hillary Clinton. And then he starts to take on Trump when Trump gets elected. And I think when he did that, now it's forget sports fans.
Oh, yeah.
This is totally different. And so when you ask that big question about LeBron, he is a much more complex character, individual, than most athletes who come along in America. He didn't start that way, but he has become that over the years.
If you were if I compared Tiger to LeBron, is there anything that would jump out that they are this together, or they're not even close to being the same people?
They're not close. I mean, the one thing they have in common is I would say that Tiger, LeBron, and Tom Brady are the three greatest male athletes that America has produced in this century, in the 21st century. They have passed everyone else because they approach their sports as a craft. They are more disciplined, and they have longevity. You know, you just don't see. LeBron started doing this when he was 18. Yeah. The fact that he catapulted from high school to the pros, and the moment he arrived, he was dominant. I mean, he didn't need a few years to ramp up. He was dominant in his first game. And so LeBron has been doing this for 2 decades at the highest level. And Tom and Tiger were the same way. They were immediately dominant. And so I think that Tiger and LeBron have that in common. But after that, they are very, very different people.
I'm glad you stopped in, Jeff. Congratulations on the success, not only this book, but the other ones as well. You have Dynasty. You also have the Tiger book, and it's LeBron. It's available now in bookstores, online, wherever books are sold. Thank you, Jeff. We'll come back. We'll get to phone calls back after this.